Right, I've got Hammond with me and we're going to make a video with some Avery screen walkthroughs. He's the guy who captured my really fun launch.
Yeah, the walrus launch, we're calling it. Where Nick belly flopped.
So I did actually have the wing, and I deliberately lifted the brakes up so I would hug the terrain. I could have lifted off by pulling the brakes, but it was really fun to build up speed and just pretend you're at Rainbow Beach.
Yeah, it looked really good.
Yeah, so there was southeasterly winds. It was nice, and there was nice clouds around, lots of sun. I was sort of going around asking people if they had any plans and if anyone had their bivvy gear with them, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, but they had set a task out to Kalbar, which is a good flight, quite a way towards Cunningham's Gap sort of area. Yeah,
I saw you come by and you were asking me, and I did have my tent and my sleeping mat, but I wasn't sure if you were just kidding or if you're actually serious about staying out the night, and I wasn't quite sure if I would be able to keep up with you, and I was kind of hoping I'd stay with the task because I'd have a lot more thermal markers.
He's a good boy. He's doing what he's told.
I was going to use Conundrum resources that day.
I was actually saying maybe I'll fly up to Springbrook while I'm waiting for the task to start. So yes. I remember asking Jason about this, and he just laughed. Is it that bad an idea? But it was really fun. It works a lot better when you're away from Beachmont and the sun shines on these faces on the side of the Nummamba pretty nicely. So
you're heading towards the south, down the Nummamba Valley, and there's the Shipstern. I've never been down that valley, so it's pretty cool to see you heading down there. No.
Okay. Pretty scenic. So we've got Springbrook, cloud base is a little lower over there. Nummamba Valleys and sun, Mount Warning behind there. And a little bit blue out the west. So I was thinking there was an outside chance it was going to go down the Caldera, but it was wind. You can see the wind on the thermal pushing me back there. So
yeah, from there it's coming down the valley, and near the Shipstern you've got another climb. And around this time I'd launched with a bunch of other people, and we're kind of hanging around at the top at Cloud Base waiting for the gate to open, and the gate's open here. And we've all made a beeline towards the Kerry.
So at this stage I was thinking of flying towards Flinders Peak, so I took a more northerly track than the other guys.
Yeah, flying over Hinchies, and now you've got to climb, just getting into Kerry, and you're heading towards Bow Desert?
Heading towards the ground by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Last I've been just on the Canungra side of Bow Desert. Under 1,000 feet above sea level.
So that was the lowest save. That was pretty nice to get out of there because it really made the weekend, I suppose.
There's a lot of fires that day and a lot of smoke in the air. And there's actually a really impressive pyrocumulus on top of that.
Just to the south of us, yeah.
This has been the best climb of the day. And I'm thinking of doing a triangle. So that's Bow Desert there, that town. This is the Wyalong Dam. On the other side of that is the goal somewhere. Flinders Peak. I was thinking of trying to fly there, but I don't think I will now. Thinking the triangle would go down this way and back. It's 1:30 now. So it should be up to 4 hours left in the day.
I saw some gliders around, but I didn't know it was Hammond. He was flying a different wing and he didn't know it was me.
Yeah, you were flying a different wing too.
Yeah. So we got really close to each other before he went off to fly.
That was my low save.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Yeah, and this is where we both allegedly had an incursion into the airspace.
Yes.
And I saw your wing there. I didn't realize it was you. You were flying the flow. And so here you've decided to head south.
Yeah, so I had grand plans of a big triangle, which I always do, and usually it never works out, but sometimes it does, so you never know.
Yeah, and you had your gear with you, so I didn't realize you were heading that way because if I'd known, I probably would have followed you.
Yeah.
Because I did have my gear, and I would have been really. And the day looked really good. The ranges were working really well, and as you were saying before, there's a convergence setting up over the mountains.
Yeah, so there was different air masses, and even though it was southeasterly on the coast, it was kind of westerly inland.
Day's a bit slower now, but it's still pretty buoyant. And I've just had an in-flight pee, so the pressure's off. Yeah, it's pretty cool cruising around. All that cloud is basically where I started this morning over Numbaba Valley, and there's some really high clouds marking the border, and it'd be good to go this way a little bit too.
And unfortunately, when I was in the Numbaba, I announced that I was at 6,000 feet, so it was already good right back then.
Yeah.
But my battery went dead, so I had no
just
way
from that one
down.
announcement.
Yeah.
You had one announcement and
about 3 seconds of airtime.
You should have saved it for later.
Yeah.
So you headed south, and I tried to complete the task heading towards Kalbar out west. And I didn't actually find any climbs beyond the dam, but it was I just picked a really lifty line and had a glide right into Kalbar. And then I had some trouble getting down.
Well, it was really lifty for me too. Like, my glides were pretty good. I still got some top-up climbs, as you can see.
Mount Barney to the left. We're going to follow the massif for a bit. These beautiful clouds. I was just in a climb, but I left. It's just 1 or 2 meters.
Yeah, and now these are some of the iconic landmarks in southeast Queensland. You've got Lake Maroon on the right. There's Mount Maroon, and Barney with its several peaks in the back. So what were you planning at this stage? Were you just sightseeing, or?
Yeah, basically I wanted to push out towards the western side of the massif around Mount Barney, which is what I did. But also I'd flown here not that long ago, maybe a couple of weeks before, and I bombed just below there, so it was nice to get a little bit low.
Yeah, because you're pretty low above those trees, and nice climb there.
Mount Barney, and just had a few blips of lift. I need to get something here. 3,500 feet, and should be working. It's got all the sun on it. Mount Maroon. This is very close to where I landed the other day.
So now you've got Mount Barney in the back, Leaning Peak in the front.
Woohoo! It's Mount Barney there, and I'm pretty high. I'm nearly 6,000 feet. But cloud base is heaps higher. But it looks like the inversion on the smoke is around about here. So it'd be great if I could punch up real high. Then I should have a bit of tailwind westerly. The day looks like it's softening up a bit.
Now it's getting really high. This is beautiful at the end of the day. It was starting to shut down though because it was getting late, but there was a cloud roughly towards Rath where I'm heading.
Well, it's pretty incredible looking on Mount Barney like this, looking down on it. It's a lot of lower cloud here, so I was going to follow the border, but these clouds are dissipated. I'm going to go for this more direct line back. So here we go. Rathdowney's ahead. Shall I land at the Rathdowney pub? We'll see what happens.
I thought I might end up at the Rath pub.
Yeah, I think you were sending messages on Messenger.
Yep.
Asking if there were any retrieves around Rath. So I thought you'd landed.
Yeah.
And succumbed to pub suck, but
you and then I replied to my own message and said disregard.
Yeah, because you got another climb.
Yeah.
So now you decided you're going to head south again into the mountains and...
Yeah, well, a really long glide, and there was some convergence clouds setting up over the border and over Mount Chingy, which is where I ended up. And so here I was just scratching, and there's fairly strong northerly valley winds feeding into this.
Be great if I could get something off here. It's been a pretty quiet glide, buoyant, can't complain. It's a bloody long way I come, but you can see not much happening out there in the middle anymore.
And it was a really nice feeling getting a climb here and getting under the clouds, which were now quite a bit lower, back into the more moist MS.
I think at this time you were waiting for the sunset and you had your camera ready. You were a bit disappointed because the cloud cover was too low. Didn't let the sun light up the clouds from underneath.
But it was pretty late in the day, and yeah, everything was in shade here.
Thermals are picking up now. Hopefully I can get up to base. That would just be amazing. There's still some good clouds stretching up that way, up this way. That's the way I'd probably take, I think. And over there, that's probably coming off the back of this valley. Oh, this is just awesome. Woohoo! Oh yeah, 5,000 feet. This is epic. Woohoo! Oh, I'm pushing headwind, but I'm in the convergence, baby. That's the main thing. Woohoo! Well, out of the lift and my glide's gone down to 3.4. It's consistently been that for quite a while. Most of the bars are deployed. See, there's not a lot of tension on these. There's a wedgie down there, hopefully he's kind. He's got his wings curled in. There is some nasty wedgies in Chingy, but hopefully there are the ones on the out the front and not that one there. The wind's coming from straight ahead, so it's hopefully going to be easier just around the corner here. There's my mate. I hope he is not upset with me. Wedge-tailed eagle. I just took some photos with Mount Lindsay and Barney in the background. Just looks amazing. So I've been here soaring Mount Chingy for ages, trying to figure out what to do. And what I decided is I'm just going to wait for sunset. I'm going to pop underneath the clouds. I was thinking of gliding off that way, but I think it's a good place here. And yeah, just gorgeous. So soon everything's going to be illuminated when the sun pops below those clouds. Whew, bit of G-forces there.
So what's your strategy for picking? You'd never landed there before in Chingy before, had you?
Yeah, I haven't landed here. I was thinking that I might be able to get to the fort, but it looked like that I wouldn't be able to. So I had a choice of either gliding to the mountain between here and the fort, which is Mount Neglected, and there's a couple of places which could work for a launch that we haven't tried yet. But I thought, actually, it's probably the best place right here where I am.
Yeah.
And
so you neglected again.
Yeah,
no wonder it's called that. Everybody neglects it. Everybody wants to go to Chingy or the fort. So now are you flying around looking for a suitable landing spot? Or
is it just taking clear phones and sending messages on Messenger. And there was heaps of landings. They weren't on the top of the mountain. The top of the mountain's covered in rainforest, but there's some nice cliffs around it, and leading up to it all these big grassy spurs. So it definitely looked like a place that could work. And I knew the wind next morning, if there was any wind, was going to be light northeasterlies, which is the same as the sun direction.
Okay.
So it was on
the
the
right
right side of the
you're
hill.
thinking about the next day and where you're going to land and set up camp.
Yeah. And the wind was like a sea breezy northeasterly anyway, so it was the same wind as.
And you've flown there long enough to know where sometimes from the air things look a lot smoother than they are compared to when you get down low. So something that looks grassy can be quite shrubby and small trees sometimes.
Yeah, so I was peering deep into the rainforest where there's a lot of lantana, and because I was thinking there might be a high launch, or I might be able to clear a high launch, but it looked so bad that I didn't even try to explore up there the next day.
Okay.
That tree is in the road of my landing approach. If I want to land, in the highest point, which would be a good launch and a good takeoff in the morning, which is just here. I wonder if it would be possible to soar tomorrow. I'm thinking not, but I guess it sort of will with thermals, but probably won't be enough wind. Oh, we'll see. I wonder if I'll have used up my video camera batteries by then, or SD card. Let's get around. Woo! Beautiful. Mount Chingy, sunset. I've just set up my bivvy. On the menu is some leftover potatoes and bacon and carrot and some raw cauliflower. Broccoli, I should say. And I'm pretty excited about this pretty awesome spot. So I was pretty stoked to be here. It was a really awesome spot. And yeah, I like drinking beer sometimes, but it's also pretty cool to not have to worry about retrieve.
Yeah, and you had some pretty interesting camp food.
Oh yeah, I just had some leftovers that I cooked up, but luckily I
Do you always pack leftovers in your harness or before every flight? Potatoes and bacon, you're saying? Yeah,
it's literally a little like the takeaway plastic container.
Okay.
With last night's dinner in it.
Yeah, no frills dinner. Handy.
And some raw broccoli.
Okay. Good XC food. Yeah. Good bowl Biv food. Carrot, so did you make a fire?
No.
No.
Especially.
And you just went to sleep at sunset and no wild parties.
I was probably a bit short on sleep anyway, so good night's rest.
Is there any farms close by? Do you think they'd have problems with us landing there?
It's basically cow paddocks, so I didn't want to draw any attention to myself. I mean, usually it's litigation and stuff that people are worried about, so if they didn't know I was there, they probably wouldn't have a problem with it.
Yeah, and then next morning, did you have to hike up, or were you able to launch from where you landed?
I launched from the exact spot within 10 meters of where I landed and where I slept.
Okay. And was that a successful launch?
It
launch
was
successful.
But I did wait a little while because it was quite blue early on.
Yeah.
I was talking to you at Beachmont and seeing what the conditions were like for you.
Yeah.
It ended up working all right, but the first flight, despite getting a nice thermal pretty much straight away off the ridge and then getting over Mount Chingy, I actually bombed out probably 15 or 20 minutes later.
Okay.
But I slope landed it and I just walked with everything in a rosette, probably 5 minutes to the other spur, which I checked out in the morning. Yep.
Thanks for that. We had to rush this a little bit because we had limited time and the SD card was getting filled up, and I don't have enough
work.
and I don't have an external drive on my laptop. So next time maybe we can talk a bit more about your strategic decisions that you make when you're flying.
Yeah, or lack of strategy.
Or I have a feeling that you do them subconsciously. You're not really realizing that. But maybe I'll ask you some intelligent questions. I'll prepare before, and we can do that next time.
Yeah, no worries.
So that was pretty fun. Hope people enjoy it. Yeah.
Cool. Cheers. GoPro, stop recording. I'll use it.